already know that he has speed, he's got power. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? But those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
Look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference.
Too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo.
Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford is being billed as the biggest fight of the year, and Teddy Atlas isn't holding back. According to Atlas, Crawford has everything it takes to win, no matter the weight class. He praises Crawford's skill, discipline, and adaptability, while questioning whether Canelo still has the fire that once made him great. Atlas points to recent performances, suggesting Canelo has declined, even calling him overrated when compared to Crawford. In his eyes, Crawford's sharpness, hunger, and relentless drive make him the clear favorite in this dream matchup.
That the urgency's not there. The fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right. If you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that it just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh my God, I'm going to say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you can make the argument that he lost the first Triple G. He didn't embarrass himself, but he got a draw. Second one, you can make the argument he lost that. I know it was a different kind of fight, and he got better. But you can make that. You can make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You can make the argument it was too young in his career. Maybe. Although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16.
Mean Machine, a fighter who shared the ring with Terence Crawford, strongly believes size won't decide the outcome against Canelo Alvarez. He argues Crawford's skill set is on another level, and his intelligence inside the ring makes him too smart for Canelo. In Mean's eyes, the weight difference can't bridge the gap in ring IQ, adaptability, and timing that Crawford brings to every fight. He insists Crawford is one of the most calculated fighters of his generation, capable of adjusting mid-fight and dismantling opponents regardless of physical advantages. Crawford controls pace, distance, and rhythm, elements that often outweigh sheer size. For Mean, this matchup favors the fighter with sharper tools, and that fighter is clearly Terence Crawford.
No, it's not good for Crawford. Canelo's too big. Right now, my position changed. I think Crawford is too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo, but the way when you say he's too big, when you see Usyk fights and what Usyk did to the big guys like Joshua and Fury, so the size and that doesn't matter. I think the skill level matters, and Crawford, he gained weight, but I think he's gonna be even faster, and his head was good in the ring. He's boxing IQ is just on top. So I would say 50-50, but right now I'm kind of leaning more to Crawford.
And that's just because of what you saw Usyk do?
It's not I'm just giving an example, size doesn't matter in the boxing. When they say Canelo is big and he's fighting 175, 168, and Crawford just moving from 147, 154. So I'm just putting an example that size doesn't matter, and that the fighter makes the fight. I think it's just that I see that Crawford's training and that he's big too right now. So he gained weight, but not and lots of people gain weight that sloppy weight, I would say fat, but he looked like strong, massively strong. So I think it's gonna be a good one.
How did Terence feel physically when you faced him? Like, how is his strength? Because yeah, a lot of people do make the point that Canelo's just maybe too big, too powerful for Crawford.
Um, Crawford, I wouldn't say like his punches was like super strong, but his timing and accuracy is the what makes difference.
Mean Machine draws a compelling parallel between the upcoming Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez fight and Canelo's 2013 clash with Floyd Mayweather. Back then, Canelo was younger, less seasoned, and Mayweather schooled him with unmatched speed, defense, and ring IQ. Mean Machine believes Crawford has the tools to pull off a similar strategy, using movement, precision, and smart counterpunching to frustrate Canelo and neutralize his biggest weapons. Yet, he notes a key difference. Today, Canelo brings far more experience. Over the years, he's faced elite opponents, adapted his style, and developed a patience that simply wasn't there in the Mayweather fight.
Throw hard, but they just throw. And he throws like his calculation for the punches and like timing and aiming to the right spots is just like on another level.
Do you think that's going to be the thing that complicates the fight the most for Canelo?
I think so, yeah. And like, yeah, like we can go back a little bit to Mayweather Canelo and Canelo. Yeah, Canelo was young and like Mayweather smart, but it can be like familiar fight like that. Even Canelo right now have more experience, and Crawford is still on his prime. So yeah, we will see.
From just your experience, you knowing boxing, like how do you think the fight will play out? Do you think it'll be a slow fight? Do you think it'll be tactical? Like, do you think Crawford?
I think it's gonna start a little bit slowly.
Mm.
They're gonna be careful with each other just to kind of like measure each other and see where they at. And like they're like that's why like they're like champs and they're like great ones. They just don't go like crazy like from the first round.
Regis Prograis offers a contrasting perspective. The former world champion downplays the idea that Crawford's punches will phase a granite-chinned, naturally bigger fighter like Canelo Alvarez. Canelo has taken shots from some of boxing's hardest hitters, many bigger than Crawford, and remained nearly unshakable. Yet, Prograis doesn't completely count Crawford out. While he questions the impact of Crawford's power, he still recognizes the Nebraska star's ability to win through skill, strategy, and sheer determination. Crawford's technique is world-class, and his ability to switch stances and execute flawless game plans makes him a dangerous challenge, even for a fighter as formidable as Canelo.
I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You got to look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. His head, his neck, everything looked bigger. But when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see who really was the bigger man. And I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave him troubles, Irislan, DeLaura, Austin Trout, Floyd, and Bivol, they gave him trouble and stuff like that. And Skull moved around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that. But I don't know how Crawford is gonna respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee. So it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't. Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now, if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about this might be. I mean, people might kill me for it, but well, not really, but this might be the best Mexican fighter ever. One of them, at least, right?
Jose Vargas Jr., who has sparred with Terence Crawford, shares Prograis skepticism. Vargas openly admits he doesn't think Crawford can truly hurt Canelo, having felt Crawford's punches firsthand in sparring. Crawford is sharp, precise, and technically brilliant, but not necessarily heavy-handed enough to seriously trouble a fighter of Canelo's size and durability. Vargas notes that Alvarez has weathered the power of much bigger opponents, which raises doubts about whether Crawford can create the same kind of danger. Still, he doesn't dismiss Crawford entirely. He knows that timing, accuracy, and consistency can break down even the toughest fighters. Yet, in his view, Crawford's shots may simply not carry enough weight to stop Canelo from pressing forward with relentless pressure.
Going to be done in camp.
You know, all we're doing is putting the final touches. I mean, I've been sparring Ron Ellis. I mean, this guy is a dog, bro. He's been getting me ready. I mean, he's been Canelo's sparring partner. Shout out to my guy Ron, man. He comes, tries to knock me out every single sparring. This guy fights at 68, big dude, goes southpaw, and hits hard. So I know he fought Benavidez. So you know, he's a veteran. And he's doing veteran tactics in there where he's not letting me rest in the clinch. He's making me work every second of every round. And I got something for Callum. I got something for the whole boxing world. And you know, I feel you're just as good as your preparation. And we've been doing the road work. We've been doing the mountain work. I've been recovering hard. I've been getting my rest. You know, I haven't been drinking no dark sodas, bro. I'm feeling like Tyson Fury right now, bro. Like
Mickey Bay takes a more controversial stance, accusing Canelo Alvarez of cherry-picking when it comes to accepting the fight with Terence Crawford. Bay argues that Alvarez has often been selective, waiting for the right timing or physical advantage. In this matchup, Bay believes Canelo saw Crawford as a smaller fighter moving up in weight, a chance to tilt the scales in his favor. Critics in boxing circles have echoed this, suggesting Alvarez is leaning on his size and strength to gain an edge over a naturally lighter man. This perspective has stirred debate among fans and analysts alike, questioning the fairness of the bout. Still, Bay doesn't dismiss Crawford. Even if Canelo steps in as the bigger man, Crawford's intelligence, adaptability, and sharpness could still turn the fight on its head.
That size comparison type of a thing to make it seem like it's not a type of cherry pick that he has to go up into this battle.
No, he a lot bigger. See, people looking at height. Height don't got nothing to do with weight and where you been fighting at. Like, Terrence put his weight on, so it's a difference. No, Canelo's a lot bigger, like, hands down. Like, just mass, as far as mass. He naturally that thick. You know, he got to come down. Terrence, just because your weight is up there, that don't mean that. That's like putting a dude, Benavidez, as a heavyweight. He might walk around at 205 or whatever. That don't mean he a heavyweight, though. So Canelo was by far the bigger man. We didn't seen him hit dudes 6'3", 6'2" in the arm and hurt him. Like, he didn't hurt Kovalev, light heavyweight. So I mean, didn't he have a light heavyweight title?
Well, when he fought Kovalev,
Just period at light heavyweight. Didn't Canelo win the light? Did he?
nah, he just Kovalev. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, he might have only fought there a couple times, but the fact that he fought up there though, and he fought way up at light heavyweight, but he been at super middleweight for a minute, so he the bigger guy for sure. So really, he got to hurt Crawford, or he got to get his major respect. He got to get his major respect to make Crawford feel like he got to survive. If he can't do that, then he probably ain't gonna win.
Do you feel like you was talking about Crawford? He needs to poke his way out of this fight, right? We've seen that. You know, Crawford's been lined up by lots of fighters. Not Errol Spence, of course, but other fighters that was able to line up with shots that don't necessarily hit like a Canelo. Now, Canelo gonna line you up regardless, right?
Tom Lafleur brings a different angle, focusing not on fairness, but on the sheer spectacle of Canelo versus Crawford. As a promoter, Lafleur sees this as one of the most marketable matchups in modern boxing. He points out that Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are two of the biggest names in the sport, each carrying loyal global fan bases that stretch across cultures, nations, and demographics. Lafleur highlights that fights like this go beyond the ring. They grab mainstream attention, pulling in casual fans who might never normally watch boxing.
Actually being in the ring on such a high-profile show, it's huge. It doesn't get any bigger than that, and you got to give credit to both guys. They're both very confident. They both have very passionate fan bases. Callum, having fought in Dublin, packed the arena out there, the 3 Arena, having fought at Madison Square Garden 3 times, fought in Boston, and then Fernando Jr., from one of the biggest boxing named families, in the history of boxing. He's going to bring out a huge fan base. So it's a really exciting addition to, such a big show that it like I said, doesn't get any bigger than that for sure.
I agree. I think that you, along with me, have seen some of these criticisms of the undercard. But really, when you look at it, I mean, we both know Callum Walsh so well. The personality and the authenticity that he brings to this sport is just so sincere. He's so real. Being from Ireland, coming overseas to train and dedicate his life to this craft, and his personality is so magnetic that it obviously brought someone like Dana White to be a huge supporter of him. I think in these weeks leading up to the fight, the fighting public who does not know Callum Walsh is really going to fall in love with him, especially, by fight night.
Saudi boxing power broker Turki Alshik is credited as the man who pushed to make Canelo versus Crawford a reality. Analysts note that while Alshik's influence and financial backing have made dream fights possible, not every matchup he orchestrates is necessarily ideal. In this case, critics point to the vast natural size difference, suggesting Crawford could face a serious disadvantage from the outset. The fight, they argue, was driven more by demand and spectacle than by pure competitiveness. Still, Alshik's role can't be ignored. Without him, this clash likely wouldn't exist. His ability to unite 2 of boxing's biggest stars underscores his power in shaping the modern landscape of the sport. Whether or not it's the perfect matchup, his vision guarantees fans around the world a once-in-a-generation event.
And Benavidez Jr., Canelo, would have mopped up all of these dudes, bro. Would have mopped up all of these dudes. Like, when we're coming out and saying that this is a complete mismatch, and this is a joke, and this is a fantasy fight, you know what I'm saying, that Turki Alashik dreamed of, and we know he's a big Crawford fan, knowing, the level of star power that Canelo Alvarez has, and he had the bag to make this fight happen. It doesn't mean that it's a logical fight for boxing, bro. At the end of the day, man, you guys tell me if Terence Crawford would have beat Triple G. Tell me if he would have beat Billy Joe Saunders. Tell me if he could beat Bivol, even though, yeah, Canelo didn't beat Bivol, but tell me if he could have beat a Sergey Kovalev. And the other loss Canelo has to Mayweather, man. Crawford, nobody in the world, I felt, could have beat Mayweather in the height of his career, bro. Tell me if Crawford, bro, would have just flat out went in there and beat a guy like Miguel Cotto, Daniel Jacobs. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, it's the level of competition that Canelo faced, man. And these dudes that he went in there to beat. Terence Crawford is nowhere, has fought nowhere near the level of competition that Canelo Alvarez has fought. And I've had some comments talking about, you talk about we're going off of our emotions and you're going off of your emotions. You're not giving no facts, bro. Like, this is all facts right here, bro. The fact of the matter is, bro, Canelo Alvarez has fought at light heavyweight. The fact of the matter is, Terence Crawford has only fought once at 154 pounds. And the fact of the matter is, he was getting touched up by those right hands all night, bro. By Majumov. That's the fact, bro. The biggest, most dominating fight he ever had was against Aerospace.
Trainer Dave Coldwell has long admired Terence Crawford's versatility, and he believes those qualities will be crucial against Canelo Alvarez. Crawford's ability to switch seamlessly between orthodox and southpaw stances gives him an edge few fighters possess. Coldwell notes that Crawford uses this skill to create angles, disrupt rhythm, and keep opponents guessing. Equally important is his footwork, allowing him to glide in and out of range and avoid being trapped. Against Canelo, who thrives on cutting off the ring and applying relentless pressure, this mobility could prove decisive. Coldwell explains that if Crawford can maintain distance, use lateral movement, and prevent Canelo from pinning him on the ropes, he has every chance to win rounds and possibly the fight. For Coldwell, it's not about raw power. It's about discipline, ring IQ, and movement.
From when the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think it's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch. He's very good as a southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic. His punch picking is fantastic. He's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, he might. I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down.
That's it for today's breakdown. Stay tuned for more Inside the Ring insights. Until next time, keep your gloves up